I believe Calais Campbell is there. Wolf, are you there? Is anybody there?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he's here, Luke.
Yes,
It's hard to miss.
Back again. Man, I'm happy to be back, man. It's incredible. Good feeling.
Calais, I think, it's not often that you see an athlete come back and, it feels like everybody in the city is excited that you're back. Do you feel that when you come back here?
Oh, yeah. I've been getting so much love, and, it's incredible. This is a special place in my heart. I've had so many good memories here, and so it's incredible. The love I've gotten since, announced we were coming back, it's been incredible.
Calais, how did you find out that the Cardinals were interested? When did you know the Cardinals were interested in signing you?
Yeah, so actually last year we were 2-6 and playing with the Dolphins, and this is a trade deadline, and there were 8 teams that called and offered contracts for me, and the Cardinals were one of them.
Okay.
And so that's when I first realized that the Cardinals were interested, and I was okay, that's interesting, And obviously, I ended up staying and riding it out. And at the end of the year, you kind of remember all those teams that were willing to trade for you. So I kind of knew that they might be interested. And I went through my process. I had to consider, if I really want to go through this whole process to be really good at football again. And so I was like, let me take my time. I don't want to rush it. I want to just, enjoy not doing anything for a little bit. And then, I started kind of realizing, I want to do this one more time. Why not? I can go through the fire again. Why not? And so then when I talked to my agent about, potentially playing again, he started, letting teams know. And, a lot of those teams that traded for me all started calling again, Cardinals included.
Wow. So they're all kind of waiting for you to actually make that declaration that you did want to play another year.
Yeah, essentially, I tried to give him enough time where it was before everything started, so he knew that, it was going to happen. But, teams might try to, change your mind and decide if you want to play again. But I was pretty confident that, I was willing to play again as long as it made sense and it was the right opportunity. And, Arizona just made a whole lot of sense.
Talking to Calais Campbell. Calais, how much did, this defense, some of the players on this defense, Nick Rollis, Jonathan Gannon, how much do you know about that group and how much did that weigh in on your decision?
Yeah, so I will say that I had a conversation, with, Coach Gannon, Coach Rollis, and it was a really good, productive conversation. We talked about, all the different, just football. We talked about scheme, talked about, the way they do things here and where they are at as a team, and after that conversation, I got really excited. It really, it made this a lot more of a possibility.
Was this before the signing or after the signing?
Before the signing.
Before the signing.
Before the signing for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you were doing your research.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Come on, Wolf, you know me. I'm gonna do research now.
No, you're right.
I studied everything.
Sense. Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at everything. As much information as possible to try to figure out. Because I believe that every team, there's quite a few teams that can make runs, right? And every team I've been a part of that made a run, nobody believed we were going to make a run before the season. But you find, you see enough of the right stuff.
Yeah.
You see the right makeup, the right kind of players, guys that captain level, guys that love ball, guys that don't mind working hard.
Yep.
You got good coaching, great communicators, great leaders, and and just a lot of young talent. And I felt like I could add a lot of value here. But this team is definitely poised.
Did they talk to you specifically about how they see themselves using you?
A little bit, that was part of it. Really, it was a lot of just, Do
you care to tell us?
A lot of it was, you did really well in these positions last year. We would love to have that here for us.
Okay.
So a lot of it is just, in the run game, shutting down, lining up over tight ends and tackles and shutting down, one side of the field. In the pass game, interior pass rushing, running games, a lot of,
So rundown situation, you see yourself playing on the 5 technique, 4-eye, out on the tackle?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. But you could also go 3 in a heartbeat.
And I told them I'm down for whatever, just opportunity to be on the field and affect the ball game. whatever the situation is. But I do feel like I'm best, in the run game when I'm over a tackle or a tight end. And, those double teams are way easier than the double teams from guards and tackles, a little bit different.
A little bit.
I can handle it regardless, but I dominate. I feel like I'm still, probably, I like to consider myself still the best, edge setter in football. So.
Talking to Calais Campbell. Calais, it felt like even when you first got into the league, you were kind of a natural leader, but now that you've seen all this stuff and you're joining a pretty young defense, is that something that appealed to you to come here and be able to lead some of these young guys too?
Yeah. I love, helping people, right? When I see young, talented guys that have potential, I feel like it's my duty to help them. So, I mean, that really definitely played a role. So much talent on this D-line, so many guys that, can, just long, strong, have all the right makeup and just, a little bit of extra, and they have good coaching here already. So, it's going to, they're going to come along regardless, but I can help speed up the process a little bit.
So, Calais, how different are you from when you first came into this league? Honestly, just do a little self-evaluation for us. Are you the same guy or have you changed?
Well, I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot, just walking through the building and all the memories and stuff and it's how much everything has changed and how much is still the same. And, I'm definitely the same person, right? Your core is your core. But I'm a whole lot, different in a lot of ways too. Like,
yeah,
a lot more wisdom.
Don't we all? A little wiser, hopefully, when you get older.
Yeah, a way better perspective.
Yes.
Just a stronger appreciation. Which is crazy because when you get
gratitude is powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a way better work ethic.
So let me ask you this, though, quickly. Year 18 coming up for you, which I still can't even believe that. Year 18 coming up for you, Calais Campbell. Will there be a year 19?
I can't even fathom 19 years. I think 18 is been already, ever since I got to year 10, I've been taking it 1 year at a time.
1 year at a time, man.
Empty the tank, give everything to that year, and then we'll see what happens afterwards. I was pretty confident that last year was going to be my last year. At the beginning of the year, I'm like, I'm going to give it, this is my last year.
Okay.
And then after week 4, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm still pretty good at this.
Every time you're out, they pull you back in.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm not leaving.
We're talking to Calais Campbell. Calais, you've still been so effective at rushing the passer. I mean, I know it's not your only job, but even just aside from the pressures, but just the actual sacks, we were looking at this earlier, you would have been basically at the top of the Cardinals the last couple of years with your production in that category. Is that size? Is that experience that you've picked up tricks along the way? I mean, you've always been good at that particular role.
Yeah, I mean, I think rushing the passer is an art, right? It's a combination of a lot of different things. Now, obviously, I had to adjust the way I rush the passer as I got older because I'm not as explosive as I used to be. I mean, I'm still pretty explosive, but there was a time when I was younger where it was different, I watched some tape and I'm like, I was fast.
Fast twitch.
I was fast. I wish I had that still. But when I was younger, I wish I had the knowledge I have now. Because I could have been, so much better. I still had a lot of success or whatever, but, it could have been, way more if I had the knowledge I have now. But that's not how it works, and knowledge has come now. But I still, my experience, my understanding how to use my body and understanding how to rush off, with other people next to me and stuff and how we all rush together and, really the games we do and, the offensive lineman chooses who gets the sack, right? You really can't control if the quarterback's going to hold on to the ball or not. You just got to, beat your guy. And if he holds on to it, we go get a sack.
So speaking of body right here, I'm 62 now. Okay, savage. I just want you to know that. Savage, but 62, Calais. Body, you were mentioning the fact that you take care of your body out there. You were saying you take care of your body. If you're going to cheat, all right, what are you going to eat? That's what I want to know. You're out there talking about your body and you take care of your body, Calais, and I know that you do, and you're 18 coming up right here, but if you're going to eat something, if you're going to cheat, what are you going to eat?
I got 3 little boys now, and so we gotta have pizza parties sometimes. And I'm like, I can't eat pizza. Y'all want to eat pizza? But sometimes when I cheat, my cheat meals are usually.
Man, what are their ages right now, Calais?
And so my oldest will be 5 in May, and then I have a 1.5-year-old and a 2-month-old.
Oh my goodness, buddy!
Incredible.
Are you sleeping at all?
I mean, my wife is really good. She's incredible. She makes it a lot easier for me. But yeah, we sleep okay. But yeah, the young one definitely makes it a lot harder. It's challenging, but I say that being a dad is the ultimate joy.
Amen.
The perspective
Amen,
is so
brother.
much different. Like
So
I'm a whole different
different.
person now. Yeah, like I'm a dad, I'm a father. It's just the confidence is so much more. The responsibility is so much more. But I told myself, like, when I was younger, I was playing. I loved the game, but it was like I had no reason not to play. Now that I'm taking time away from my kids and making those sacrifices, like it got to matter. Every little thing I do got to matter.
And your 5-year-old, his name? What is his name?
His name is Dakari.
Dakari.
Yeah, Calais Campbell.
Is Dakari 5'10" already? Is he?
He's a big
getting
boy.
ready to crack 6 feet.
Big boy.
Is he really?
Great athlete. We won't go too crazy, but he's 22. I think he's gonna hear his name
He
called
might
the
be your
draft.
401k. Is that what you're saying?
He's got the tools. He's smart. He's tough. He's determined. Like, yeah, he has all the tools.
Calais, so what do you want to do when you're done? Do you have any idea? Do you have an inkling? Do you when you are done?
Man, don't try to retire me,
I
Wolf,
know
man.
I'm not going to retire you. Just saying, I'm wondering if you look down the road and say, I'd like to stay in football.
Yeah, I had plans a long time ago, and you get kicked down the road.
And then you started having kids, and you were like, man, you got to take care of these guys.
Exactly. But I'm gonna do a little business, a little real estate, stuff like that. I still want to do a little broadcasting, which will be
Okay.
fun. I don't know if at what level. We'll see how it works out. But I love talking ball. I love being around ball. So that'd be nice. I never thought I'd be a coach because it's too time consuming. But I've kind of have had people start talking about maybe doing like the scouting department and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah. I didn't think about that one. We'll see. I love the game though, so it'd be nice to stay close to it. But
I know, man.
We'll see. A lot of possibilities, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. I try to stay present these days.
Calais, I got to say, one of the things that stood out from the press conference you just did is that it seems like you know everybody in this league. So specifically, Kyler, how well do you know him? But then also just how do you know everybody already?
Yeah, I met Kyler right before he got drafted. When he's getting ready for the draft. And I've just different events all over the years. I've crossed paths with him quite a few times, and he's such a talented guy. I've played against him a couple times, and one of the hardest tackles in football. It's like, man, just give me one. Don't run. All this hard work to get here, and I can't get you down. It's too athletic, man. It's a humbling experience, But a lot of respect for for his game. I mean. He can play some football, But so many guys on the team I've had cross paths with, and it is a fraternity. And as much as I love the game, the way I pay attention to it, I kind of get to know some of the young guys, and I'm always trying to just love on them, helping them be all they can be. So.
Calais, did you have conversations with Monty Ossenfort or with JG or Nick Rawlis, even for that matter? Did you have conversations in regard to mentoring some of these young guys? Like, did you have a conversation about, hey, we'd love to bring you in here. We know that tangibly on the field, you can still line up and you can play that 5 technique. You can play that 3 technique. You can hold up and be productive like you were last year, incredibly productive. But are you willing to actually mentor some of these young guys? Did you have that conversation at all?
It came up a little bit. It wasn't like it was a big conversation.
Okay.
I think it's kind of expected. If you talk to anybody where I've been around,
Because
they
I know you.
Yeah, it's just. You can't anywhere I've been. Like, they know. Like, it's who I am. Like, I can't not be a leader.
That's right.
I can't not help people. It's not in me, right? If I see a guy with potential and I see him doing something that could be a little bit better, I'm going to talk to him about it. Just because I love the game and I want to see them do it right. And so I've helped offensive linemen, running backs, quarterbacks.
It
I've
doesn't
talked to,
matter,
everybody.
yeah.
If I see something that I feel like can help your game, I'm gonna bring it up to you. Now especially the D lineman. D lineman, that's easy because I'm with you every day. So now you got to work with me. Come on, let's do some work after practice. Let's work on our hand placement. Let's work on our, our get off. Let's work on just all the different things that are gonna make you a better player. Whatever you're lacking, I'm gonna work with you on it. There's a lot of big guys here, a lot of size. We got to be able to bend. We got to get underneath people. So that's where our advantage is. You get a big guy that can get underneath a guy, they in trouble.
So what is your weight at right now?
Right now, today, I'm probably 320. Last year I played about 315.
About 315 you played last year.
Yeah, between 315 and 320. Like I was, I got down to 312 at the beginning of the year for a little bit, and then but it was like between 312 to 320. So about 315, 316 most of the time.
So that's where you like yourself, about 315, 316. That's what you like.
Yeah, well, it kind of happened naturally.
That's what I'm saying. It's just kind of creeping up, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, I remember when I first started, 305, 308, 310. I'm like, I'm getting kind of big, but I feel great. I don't want to.
Right.
And I had a couple years where I was, 310, 312, and I lost weight trying to get, trying to bring my weight down to 298. And I was like, this don't feel right. I don't feel dominant. I don't feel strong. I was like, let me get back to where I was at, and that's just a good weight for me, But I always had a big frame. Coaches always say, we could put weight on you. It finally came. All those coaches that, I'm a big strong guy now.
It's no doubt, man. Calais, you're awesome, dude.
Calais, man, we appreciate this. It's great to have you back. Thank you. All right.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.